Yeah, hi there everybody over at YouTube. I apologize for the delay. I have been enrolling a few people in my online TOEFL course over the last few minutes, and I will go through my emails and some of the things I want to do today. First of all, there's somebody from Japan who just joined my course a few minutes ago, so I'm going to go ahead and send this person a welcome email. After that, I will begin answering independent and integrated speaking tasks. That's kind of what I will do. So let me go ahead and send this message just quickly. I'll do this right now. And happy holidays to everybody. I'm kind of excited right now. I teach at California State University, San Bernardino. I teach for the English department. I also teach for the English language program, and that's where I teach my TOEFL preparation courses. And I'm on break right now. I'm on break until January 3rd, so I'm very excited about that. However, my website, onlinetoeflcourse.com, never takes a break. It's open 24 hours a day, 365 days a year. So every day I need to check my website to see who has joined my course. I also have to check my email to see who has sent me independent and integrated speaking practice tests to grade and comment on, and the same with writing. Okay, let's take a look at, we have somebody else join my course here. I'm trying to find out which one this is. Okay, so I think he's good. Somebody else joined my course yesterday and was having problems with the enrollment key, but it looks like he just got access and figured out how to get into my lessons. Okay, so I'm going to go through my emails right now, and let's see the speaking ones. That's what I want to work on right now. Okay, here we go. We have a speaking practice test right here. Now, you guys at YouTube, if you have any questions, I will check my live dashboard after every practice test I grade. So if you have any questions at all, you can either ask me by video if you want to show yourself, or you can post it below and I will take a look at those. And I do have one thing I want to show you guys before I get into this practice test. Okay, there's two websites I want you guys to check at. One is called Quora.com. You can look at that one. The other is called VoxyPop.com. So both of these websites are free. And Quora, and let me go ahead and put them up here for you guys. You guys can see them right now, right? So some of you probably have already gone to these websites before, but if you haven't, I recommend it. So take a look at Quora.com. You can ask questions about anything, really, and you can ask questions about TOEFL. For example, if your score is 80 and you want to ask a question, how do I go from 80 to 130 days or 60 days? And believe it or not, you'll actually get some answers to your questions. Now, some of the answers are worthless, but some of the answers, they might help you. So it's something to consider. Again, you can see the link here. Also, VoxyPop.com, this is a website that I use. My students will post their speaking practice at VoxyPop, and some of them will send the speaking by email. But if you want a place where you can upload your speaking online, and then you want to listen to it later on, and you might even get comments from somebody else, you can go to VoxyPop.com. All right, you can check both of those out. So those are two good websites. Okay, let me take a look at my first student here. So you'll notice that what I do is My website, my online TOEFL course, I want to keep it inexpensive for my students because I teach students from more than 60 countries all over the world. So with my students, they never see me face to face, right? So they send me their speaking, then the next day I listen to it, I comment on it, and I email the students my comments, and that way I can keep my course inexpensive and I don't have to meet with individual students on a day-to-day basis, because that becomes like $40 or $50 an hour, and I don't want to do that. And my online course is actually only $45 a month. All right, so let's get to the first one here. I'm going to go ahead and talk to this student. Yeah, hi there. These comments are for Raphael, and I am Michael, the founder, owner, and the materials writer for all of your lessons. So happy holidays to you. And you posted an independent speaking practice test, I think from about 2 hours ago actually. So I'm listening to it right now. And the question is, do you think it is a good idea to borrow money from friends? Why or why not? Use reasons and examples to support your response. All right, let's hear how you answer the question.
It gives me more financial flexibility, and also it permits me to get the money in an easier way. I think that it's a good idea to borrow money from friends. Well, financial flexibility could be very useful, especially in critical situations when I'm going to have more chances, for example, to modify certain deadlines and without punishment. And in addition, this process is going to be easier due to the lack of bureaucratic process, and also in some way it is going to be less risky, taking into account that any kind of collateral are going to be included in the agreement.
All right, so let's go ahead and listen to it again. So I'm going to break it up into your beginning, your introduction, and then let's look at the body of your response. And then I can figure out how to score this one. Okay, here we go in the beginning.
Because it gives me more financial flexibility, and also it permits me to get the money in an easier way.
Okay, so you're saying that it gives you financial flexibility and it's convenient, right? Which is why you think it is a good idea to borrow money. So you start off your response with 2 specific points. So I like how you get started. You don't just say, well, it's a good idea to borrow money for 2 reasons, or I have 2 reasons to support my point of view. So you're not doing that, which I don't like. Everybody else does that. It's not very original. So you have a very sharply focused beginning. I like it. So it's very clear what's going to happen in the body of your response, right?
Also, it permits me to get the money in an easier way. I think that it's a good idea to borrow money from friends.
Okay.
Well, financial flexibility could be very useful, especially in critical situations.
Now you're saying that financial flexibility is critical in certain situations, but you're not connecting that to borrowing the money from friends. So when you move to that first point, you say this. You say borrowing money gives me financial flexibility, which is very critical, right? So you want to make sure you connect what you're saying right back to the purpose of the speaking, which is why you think it is a good idea to borrow money.
When I'm going to have more chances, for example, to modify certain deadlines and without punishment. And in addition, this...
You're not giving me an example, though. You're talking in general terms. How about, for example, if I need to buy a car next week, right, and I need to take out maybe a $2,000 or $3,000 loan to make a down payment for the car, if my friend lends me that money, I'll be more flexible being able to make this payment. You see what I'm saying? So you need that specific example in there. You're not giving me the concrete detail. The details are very important because it makes the argument that you're trying to make stronger.
Process is going to be easier due to the lack of bureaucratic process, and also in
the bureaucratic process, right? But still, you need to, when you go to the second point, it says, secondly, borrowing money is also a good idea because of its convenience. Again, you want to make sure that you're repeating some of the key points from the speaking prompt And that makes your purpose very clear, and it helps give your speaking a really coherent organization, Raphael. You see what I'm saying?
One way, it is going to be less risky, taking into account that any kind of collateral.
I don't know this less risky thing. Don't bring that in. Just talk about the convenience factor, the flexibility factor. That's what you said in the beginning, and then you give some examples to help support those points.
Are going to be included in the agreement.
You see, it's really formal, but when it comes down to it, if you really look at what you did here, you really did not repeat those key words of borrow money or get money from a friend or having a friend lend you money. You didn't repeat that idea enough times throughout your response. So what you said wasn't well connected, and you didn't really have any really specific details to help illustrate the points that you're trying to make there. All right, so let me go ahead and click on the rubrics here. I need to figure out how to give you a score here. Okay, give me a quick second here, Raphael. Okay, I'm going to click on the link right now. Okay, and this one I think a lot of issues with topic development. I think this is a pretty big problem with this response. So also maybe language use. I didn't notice any major problems there. Delivery I think was not bad. I could understand everything that you were saying, and you actually are speaking with a fairly natural sounding tone, right? So here's what I want you to do. Go to speaking lesson number 7. Now remember, in order to make speaking coherent, there are 4. There's 4 specific things that you can do which help your speaking and your writing, for that matter, be more organized. Number 1 is use transition words, right? Number 2, use pronouns and determiners to help link the old and new information. Number 3, this is the one that you should have done more of, is repeating and rephrasing key ideas or key words. And then 4 is parallel structure. So I think you need to do better at using these techniques to help show how the different ideas in your response are connected. All right, let's take a look at the rubrics here. I'm going to put you at about 2.5 out of 4, 19 points out of 30 on this particular practice test. All right, Raphael? All right, thank you for completing this. Now, you guys at YouTube, now I'm talking to you guys. What I do now is I will send him my comments. By email is what I will do. And then he will listen to these comments. Hopefully he will review the lessons that I told him to review, and he will post another practice test tomorrow, and then I will give him more feedback so we can see how he's doing. And that's kind of how my students work, day by day, week by week. A lot of them, like Raphael, they get a little bit better, a little bit better, a little bit better, and they stumble and they fall, and they have problems when they're doing their speaking. And I tell all my students to keep a speaking journal, and they write down the comments I'm giving them, and that's also important, and they try to avoid making the same mistakes over and over and over. If they do make the same mistakes, I will tell them. But usually, after about 3 or 4 weeks, most of my students can eliminate those problems that are bringing their score down. Okay, let me go ahead and send this to him. So Raphael here. Got to find the audio file that I just saved. Here it is. Got it. So I'm going to go ahead and send him an email of my comments. All right, looks like we have a comment from Turgut from YouTube. You say hello, and I say hello. Now, is that looks like a Turkish name? Are you from Turkey? Yeah, I see names from people who joined my course. I'm guessing that that might be a Turkish name. I could be wrong. All right, let me go back and check another. I'm going to check another speaking practice test here. Okay, let's see what we have. You are from Turkey. Okay. I guess correctly. Because I teach a lot of students at California State University, San Bernardino, I get students from all over the place. And so I can say Mahaba. I'm not saying it correctly, of course, but Mahaba. Actually, one of my colleagues, he just moved back to Turkey, but I taught with him. His name was Ozan, and I taught with him, I don't know, about 5 or 6 years. He was a very, very good ESL instructor, very organized. Okay, let's go to another one here. So now we're going to another practice test. Okay, here we go. Okay, the next student is Sorasit, I think maybe from Thailand. And I'm going to download this particular practice test. This is going to take a while because it's 14.5 megabytes. Wow, a big one. Okay, so now I'm going to talk to this particular student. Hi there, these comments are for Sorasit, and I am Michael, the founder, owner, and the materials writer for all of your lessons at the 7-step system to pass a TOEFL IBT, and I think that you are completing an integrated speaking practice test. If I remember correctly, I think this one is speaking, it's listening, speaking, more campus related. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and listen to your response.
According to the speakers, the teacher can make learning more enjoyable and fun for their students in 2 ways.
Okay, good. Now you're being a little more careful, so last time you're having some trouble with grammatical word endings, so I told you to be careful about your plural S, and you are. But be careful, you don't want to speak too slowly. If you speak too slowly and too clearly, it also becomes a little bit difficult with your fluency.
Firstly, they can teach more interactively.
Now who is they? Do you mean teachers? Right, so when you begin a point, it's usually not a good idea to start with a pronoun. Start with a more, either a proper or a common noun first, and then after that you can use a pronoun. So maybe start off by saying teachers.
So that the students will learn faster. For example, the teachers ask the student to pick out things such as pencils, and the second way is.
And the second way, according to the reading or the listening passage, so it makes sure throughout your response that you put those voice markers in there. So if the information is coming from the reading passage, you can say the author. If the information is coming from the listening passage, you can say the speaker. But you need to put those voice markers in there throughout your response so that we understand that you are summarizing somebody else's ideas. Does that make sense? You want to be careful that you do that. Remember that independent speaking tasks, you're giving your own opinion, but with integrated tasks, in many cases, you're explaining someone else's information.
The teacher provides a role plays to the students so that the students will not get bored, and the speakers provide other benefits.
This is good. The speakers provide maybe not other but additional benefits, you might say.
Which is the students will be friendly, so it's easy for the teacher to teach them.
When you get in, so therefore, according to these speakers, the making teaching interactive is the best way to engage students in the learning process. If you said something like that, that would make what you're saying connect a little bit better back to the purpose or the speaking task. In this case, an integrated speaking task, right? Okay, let's take a look at the rubrics here. So overall, independent speaking. Actually, I want to go to integrated speaking rubric here. Give me a quick second. All right, here. So I think on this one, delivery. You're trying to pronounce those medial and those final consonant sounds. You're also trying to remember to pronounce your grammatical word endings. So that's good. It's good. But. You're speaking a little bit too slowly, right? So you need to work a little bit on what's called thought groups and blending. It means that you blend your ideas into maybe 5 or 6 stress words, you have a pause, you have another 5 or 6 stress words followed by another pause, and on and on and on, right? And that way you're speaking a little bit faster. Now within each thought group, source it, you want to blend those words together within that thought group, so you're not really doing that. And the problem is, if you pause like you do after almost every word, it makes it a little more difficult for the brain to concentrate on your ideas, right? Now, how do you fix this problem, right? So you solved one problem, but you still have another problem you're working on, right? So if you go to the pronunciation area of my course source, take a look at pronunciation lessons 41 through 44, which talk about thought groups and blending, which is what you need to make some improvement on. Now, when you go through those lessons, if you want, you'll notice that there's some practice exercises at the end of each of those pronunciation lessons. So what you can do is you can record yourself doing the practice exercises, and then you can email me some of that practice, and then I will listen and comment on it, and I will tell you how you're doing with thought groups and blending. But remember my rule. My rule is do not send me more than 60 seconds of audio, either speaking or pronunciation practice daily. So no more than 60 seconds. And I have this rule, that way all of my students have time to give me, they can send me speaking or pronunciation practice, and I can give them comments and feedback accordingly. All right, so looking at the rubrics here, I'm going to put you right now at about, I think mostly your speaking response was complete, but still you had some problems as I outlined. So I'm going to put you at about 2.6 out of 4, 20 points out of 30 on this particular practice test. All right? Thank you. Okay, and that is my second student today to complete speaking practice. And this is how it goes. Now, some of you guys at YouTube, if you're watching this, you might say, well, how long does it take for somebody like Sourceit, who is scoring around 20 points out of 30 on the speaking, how long does it take somebody like that to go from 20 to 26? And it just depends. Every student is a little bit different, but my guess for this guy is if he stays with it and doesn't give up, he can probably get 26 anywhere from 3 to 5 months of serious speaking practice. Remember, he has to do a lot more than just send me speaking practice every day. He needs to be watching movies, he needs to be listening to the radio, listening to music, and most importantly, he needs to be talking to native speakers on a day-to-day basis. If he does all of this and he's sending me daily speaking practice, my guess is anywhere from 3 to 5 months, and he will be able to get over 26 on the speaking section of the TOEFL exam. Okay, let's see if we have this one. There we go. Okay, I saved that. Now I'm going to send it to him. So he now gets my comments. He will get basically about 7 minutes of comments that I gave him. And you notice, one thing that I like to do is when students send me a practice test, I like to play their response. I like to play it out loud. As I hear it, I comment on it. So they hear their audio file, then they hear my comments, and it's easier for me to tell them when and where they have problems in their speaking. That's why I like to do that. Okay, I'm going to email source it, the comments that you guys just heard at YouTube. So I'm done with that one. All right, so let's keep going here. I'm looking at your comments at Turgut again. So you said you pronounce perfectly. So you heard my greeting. You're being too nice. No, my pronunciation is terrible. Believe it or not, my second language is Spanish. I have a 4-year degree in Spanish from Brigham Young University. 20 or 30 years ago, whatever. I'm getting old now. You can probably see if you look at my bald head here, but you know what? I still love teaching my TOEFL students online. It's always a lot of fun. It really is. Seriously. Okay, let's go to another one. After this practice test, I think I have at least 3 more that I'm going to listen to today. Let's see what this one is. Okay, let me look. Okay, here we go. Okay, this is a integrated writing practice test number 18. So one of my students completed integrated writing. Now what I do for that is I have a teaching assistant who scores all of my practice tests because I don't want to do everything. Trust me, it's too much. I have over 100 emails every day, as you can imagine, and students want to do writing and speaking. So I'm going to forward this one over to my TA. And he's going to grade that. Now, if any of you guys are wondering at YouTube, when students join my online TOEFL course and I do grade a writing practice test, I do not correct all the errors in the practice test, at least not for $45 a month. It's too time consuming. For example, if I error correct just one essay, it can take me up to 1 hour. Now, so students who request it as an additional service, I will do it, but it's actually pretty expensive. I don't make it cheap. So if I correct all the errors in your writing, here's what I will do. So I will give you either an integrated or an independent writing prompt, and you can take that at my website, and once you do that, you're going to email it to me, and I will do a video. And I will show you exactly what you have to do to improve your score to whatever the score is that I give you, to getting a perfect score of 5 points out of 5 or 30 points out of 30. So I will tell you everything that you're doing wrong in your writing, and I will also explain specific lessons in my online TOEFL course to help you get better. And then that's your job. You got to go and review those lessons, practice those things, and that's how you improve. So that additional service to error correct one essay, just one, is $50. Now, that means 50, not 15, but $50. So I have to make that a pretty expensive service because it does take me at least an hour, maybe an hour and a half to do one essay. Remember, I have to prepare the video, I have to upload it to YouTube, I have to correspond with the student, send the student the link and all those things. So all that takes time. So because it takes time, I have to put some kind of a cost on that. Okay, this one is integrated speaking practice test number 7. This is one of my students. His name is Marcelo. Yeah, hi there. These comments are for Marcelo, and I am Michael, the founder, owner, and the materials writer for all of your lessons at the 7-step system to pass a TOEFL IBT. So I'm going to listen to your integrated speaking practice test number 7. So this is reading, listening, speaking, academic. So you can just about guarantee this will be very hard.
The reading passage explained what the mineralogist did, and the listening passage explained 3 main significant contributions. First of all, the mineralogist was able to map a tornado by following a family of tornadoes. In addition, the listening passages gives 3 main significant contributions of that mineralogist.
Now remember, I think both passages are explaining contributions. I think the reading passage gives at least 1 contribution, then the listening passage gives additional contributions. Right, so if you just said this, the listening and the reading passage explain several contributions from the famous meteorologist Theodore Fujita. If you said it like that, then it makes sense kind of what's happening and how you want to frame your response.
The first contribution was about a system which linked the damage and the wind's speed. The second contribution was about a map entirely storm and identify new wind storms. And the third...
Now that one, you're not quite explaining that information fully there, so you're a little bit limited in your discussion of that second contribution that you're explaining there. So make sure as you're explaining the ideas, you want to make sure you're not leaving out any important points.
Contribution was about educating other students about the tornadoes.
And what you didn't say what you're trying to say is his last contribution was that he was able to influence a lot of the meteorologists who are prominent researchers in the field today. How did he influence them? He taught many of them. And his research affected many of them. So again, I think on this one you're having some weaknesses with not explaining fully the information. So it's hard to do that, so that's a topic development issue. Delivery, I'd like to see you work on your intonation a little bit more. I know that I keep telling you this, but that's definitely something you want to keep working on. Remember, intonation is in the pronunciation lessons 36 through 40. Your response on this, I think it's still a pretty good response. I'm going to put you at 3.0 out of 4. 23 points out of 30 on this practice test. All right, thank you. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and email him my comments. There we go on that. Shrikant. I got it, man. There you are. I see you made some comments over at my live stream there. You are one of my students. You joined my course yesterday or a couple of days ago. I think as of today, it looks like you're you have, what am I saying here? You're distracting me. You've logged in using your username and your password and also your enrollment key, so everything is good. But what you haven't done is, where is your speaking? You need to send me a speaking practice test today. You got to do that. All right? Remember that. You need to do that speaking practice on a day-to-day basis. You don't want to wait a week or 2 weeks, because once you do the speaking, then I have an idea about what your problems are. But remember, the more speaking practice tests that you submit, the better, the more familiar I become with what your speaking and pronunciation problems are. And then I can give you more information on how you can solve those issues. So Srikanth, your assignment is, I want you to do a speaking practice test at my website, my online TOEFL course, and then send me one to listen to today. Now you should also do my pronunciation pre-test. That's also important, because remember with TOEFL speaking, you'll be graded in terms of delivery, which is pronunciation, language use, and also topic development. So you want to make sure you do well in all those areas. All right, you are here. I like it. Okay, let me keep going. Okay, I'm looking for more practice tests. Okay, I think I have just about all of them here. Okay, the next thing I'm going to do here is I'm going to my VoxyPop group. Now you can check this out too, Srikanth, by the way. I can talk to you because I saw your name in there. What you can do is you can also go to voxypop.com and you can post your speaking responses there too if you want. Okay, hold on. In fact, I'm going to send you a link, Srikanth, so you can see it. So hold on a second. Give me a quick second here. Okay, there's none there right now, but here. Yes, I'm going to send you a link to Srikanth you can check out. Rafael Serrano, man, what is going on here? I'm seeing all these people. You say, hi, Professor Genha, could you see the second part of my email? Okay, give me a second here. Man, I'll check out, I'm going to look at that in just a minute. Follow the link to my VoxyPop discussion group. Okay, I'm going to put it right here for you. Got it. Okay, it says here, I'm going to send you guys, this is especially for Raphael and also for Srikanth who are watching this live video stream. It says, follow the link to the VoxyPop discussion group in which students can post their speaking. There, I just sent it. Now, remember though, if you're not one of my online students, do not post any practice tests here. You got to join my course first. So do not post unless you're one of my 7-step students. But these two students, Srikanth and also Raphael, you guys can post your practice tests here also if you want. Now these other students here, it looks like Turgut and Sandra, you guys, if you want, you can go to my Voxipod group. You can't really post any practice tests if you don't want to pay for my course, but you can listen to them, and you can listen to the comments that I give my students and all of those kinds of things. Okay, now let me go back to Raphael's question. You say, could you see the second part of my email? Let me go back and let me see if I can find it. I'm taking that you were asking me a question maybe. I hope I didn't miss it. So, speaking practice test 193. Oh, no, I didn't see this. Wow. Okay, I'm going to look at this right now, Raphael. Okay, I'm talking to you directly. Now, you have a question, it looks like, about writing. And some of these other students who are watching this, they might also have some questions here. Okay, so you're saying, I have some questions about grammar in the writing section. Is it correct to say, it is very important that the restaurant be a relaxing place, or it is very important that a restaurant be relaxing? So you're saying be plus noun or be plus past participle. Wow, you really have a lot of questions about the subjunctive mood, interesting enough. You could say both, believe it or not. You can use either be a relaxing place, so be plus noun, or you can say be plus the past participle. Remember, when you're using the be verb, Raphael, you're using it as a linking verb, and after linking verb, you need what's called a subject complement. Subject complements come after linking verbs, right? Now, some students, or some people may have this same question, so let me go ahead and post your question here. I don't know how much it's going to post. It doesn't let me post very much. Okay, so let me go back to the question here. Again, so when you're using the be verb, like be a relaxing place or be relaxing, so you can use the adjective relaxing, or you can say place after the linking verb. So both are correct. Okay, so let's go to number 2. Your next question is, so you say, I would like to ask you how I can improve my score in this type of writing task. My recent scores were, so you got 22 points on independent writing task number 11. You got 22 points out of 30 on independent writing task number 12, and you had scored 22 points on independent writing task 13, and then 21 points on independent writing task 14. All right, so you say, as you can see, I cannot score higher than 22. I think that it is important to mention that first, I'm doing this task during more than 30 minutes because, first of all, I'd like to understand very well how to do the task. After that, I was planning to practice reducing the time. That's okay, you can do that. A lot of students will do that. They even do that with speaking. Let me get some water here. Hold on, too. Give me a second. I will be right back. Maybe I'm going to take a snack too here. Give me a second. This is taking longer than what I thought, so I'm going to grab. You guys ever eat these? Hopefully you never eat them. These are called circus animal cookies. Terrible for you. Okay, here I am. So you say, however, I do not know how can I have a higher score in this test using more than 30 minutes? I cannot score higher. Okay, I got your point. Let me paraphrase what you're saying. Okay, so right now you're stuck at about 21 or 22 points, right? And you're still taking more than the required 30-minute time constraint, right? And you want to reduce the time constraint. However, you want to make sure that your score is higher than maybe 24 or 25 points or something before you start reducing the time constraint, right? You said, I reviewed your model essays from the respective prompts. I really appreciate if you could help me. I don't know, could it be possible to have a kind of brief audio comments as you do in the speaking grading? I can't do it, man. It's just too much. If I try to comment on writing, even if I do audio comments, the problem is you're having grammatical errors. That's why you're scoring where you score. So I think that's probably more of the difficulties that you're facing here. So it's hard for me to give any audio or video comments on the writing because writing is just so much more complicated. Remember, speaking, it's only 45 seconds. It's very easy for me to listen to a 45-second response and then give comments accordingly. It only takes me 3 or 4 minutes. However, writing, if I go through the whole essay, it can take 30, 40, 50 minutes. It can take really a long time. So it says, given that the TA only gives me the score, it only suggests me see the rubrics, considering I'm scoring the same, I'm reviewing the same lessons because the rubrics say the same. I don't know which are my main weaknesses. I really appreciate if you could help me with this situation. Professor, thanks so much. Okay, well, here's what I'm going to do here. I think I can help you here, Raphael. Okay, so to give you some comments here, I'm going to go ahead and take a look at one of the essays that you actually posted. And where are you, Raphael, Shrikant? Why don't you guys show yourselves? Make yourselves available in the video. Can you guys do that? I don't know how that works. Can we talk face to face? I've noticed when we do the live stream, it's a little bit behind, you know, like, I don't know, it's like 30 or 40 seconds behind what I'm actually doing. Okay, here's what I want to do, Raphael, with you, is you posted a practice test here, and let me take a look at it here. So you say, it says you need to travel from your home to a place 40 miles away. Compare the different kinds of transportation you could use. Tell which method you would use. So you say there are many kinds of transportation, not only to move from one state to another, but also inside them due to their ballistic growth in terms of space and population. That's a parallel structure error there. I would say, but also to go inside them. You see, two of the most common means of transportation are the car and the bus, both having their own advantages. Personally, I would prefer the bus over the car transportation to travel from my home to a place 4 miles away. Okay, first of all, you have a pretty good thesis because you say in the introduction that two forms of transportation are the car and the bus. And in paragraph 2, you talk about the advantages of car transportation. And then in the next paragraph, you talk about the bus transportation. And then finally, you talk about the bus, how you prefer the bus as a form of transportation, right? But the introduction, when I'm looking at it, it needs to be a little bit longer than that. That would be one of my first suggestions, is introduce your topic a little bit more than what you're doing. I think that would be effective. So give me a quick second. I'm going to go ahead and post your essay. So I'd recommend with the introduction, if I look at the word count right now, you're at about 72. I would try to get you closer to about 100 words with the introduction. Now, let's go to the next paragraph. Defining car transportation as using. Now, what you're doing, Raphael, before I forget, write down the errors you're having problems with. So, the first paragraph, you're having problems with parallel structure. So, write that down. In the next paragraph, it says, this means it's faster, more comfortable than the other mentioned above. In this case, you have a comma splice. Write that down. It says, it is faster taking into account that there is no need to do any additional stop. For example, when I travel by my own car, I usually spend less time because I only stop at the plazas I like and when I need them, or when I need to. In this case, you have omitted a word, so you omitted a preposition in there. So sometimes you don't put words in your sentences when you need them. I do not have to do any mandatory stops due to the fact that I devised my own ride. So you're having problems with what's called singular and plural nouns. You're not sure when, if a noun is plural, you're not putting S on it. So you have to be careful about that. In addition, this way of transportation is more comfortable considering that I am 2 meters tall. Thus, I have serious problems when I use public transport service, at least in my country, considering the size of its buses. Okay, the next paragraph is a word choice error. It says, in the other hand, you should say on the other hand. The bus transportation is less expensive and it could permit me to meet with a variety of people. It is cheaper because the ticket price is lower than the price of the oil used in my car during the ride. I would say not the price of oil. I would say it's cheaper than paying for the gasoline that I need for my automobile to move or something. So this is what we call, you're using certain kinds of words are not very natural sounding. So that's part of the problem with your writing. You say, in addition, it is important to consider all the potential tolls that could appear on the highways. Moreover, traveling by bus permits me to meet enjoyable people owing to the fact that I used to engage in a conversation. Therefore, this kind of long ride is an excellent opportunity to do it. Okay, here's what I'm recommending here. I would say in this particular paragraph, you have a lot of different ideas. You talk about buses are less expensive, you can meet people. I would just focus on one of those ideas. Just talk about how bus transportation is less expensive and develop that topic over 50, 60, maybe 70 words. So then you can be a lot more specific in the examples you're using, right? So I think that might be something that you can do to help improve your writing scores. You need a little bit more depth to the paragraphs that you write. You see what I'm saying there, Raphael? So in that paragraph number 3 that you sent me by email that I'm looking at right now, I would want you to just focus on the less expensive idea, or you can focus on how you can meet a variety of people. So there's social advantages of taking the bus, is what you're trying to say, right? So then you go to the last one. After having shown the advantages of both types of transportation, I prefer the bus given the fact that it is more advantageous from an ecologist point of view. I don't know about ecologist. I would say environmental point of view, not ecologist point of view. You say, given the fact that hardly ever do I have restraints of time when I travel. To transport by bus means that a great number of people are traveling inside it. Thus, all their cars probably are not being used, and indirectly this group of people is helping in some way to reduce the pollution. Finally, since I am used to traveling, I would not have any obligation. Okay, again, I'm getting more of maybe what some of your problems are. Now, give me a quick second here. I think I saw a mouse in my kitchen here. Hold on a minute. Seriously. Okay, hold on just a second here. If there is a mouse in my kitchen, this is definitely not a good thing. Yeah, I don't see it. I'm trying to look around here. I don't know, I didn't see it. I thought I saw something moving in the corner of my eye, but maybe I'm wrong. So maybe not. Okay, let's go back to the essay. Okay, got it. Okay, let's go back to what you wrote a minute ago. So in the very last paragraph, I'm going to give you the same suggestion. Is in the paragraph, sometimes you have a tendency to bring up too many big ideas, and what I'm telling you to do is bring up just one key point in the beginning of the paragraph. You put that idea in the topic sentence, then you spend the remainder of that paragraph developing and illustrating the one idea. That's what I would do. You say, I prefer the bus given the fact it's more advantageous from an environmental point of view, and then that I have restraints. Hardly ever do I have restraints when I travel. And by the way, I like the subject, verb, inversion word order that you're using. You definitely have some pretty good grammar here. That's what I would say there. So just talk about either the environmental benefits of taking a bus, or the lack of restraints that you have when you're traveling, when you're taking a bus. Choose one or the other, and then develop the one point in the paragraph as opposed to the two ideas. I think that would be better also. So I would put your score right now, probably kind of where my TA has given it. I would put you between about 22 to 24 points out of 30 on the writing. So you have some writing issues. Remember parallel structure, remember singular versus plural nouns, you remember comma splices, and then sometimes word choice or inappropriate word choice. Those are some of the problems you're having. And also you need to have a little bit more depth and progression of thought as you move to each of your body paragraphs. And I think you can improve your writing if you follow those specific ideas. Does that make sense? Okay, so I think, Raphael, I answered pretty much most of your questions. Am I right? Okay, so let's move on here. So I think that might be just about all I want to talk about. So Raphael, I answered your question. Shrikant, you're going to send me some speaking practice after this video is done. And anybody else watching this, anybody at YouTube who's watching this right now, you guys, if you need a good online course that can help you with that can help you improve your academic English language abilities, my online course will help you do that. But remember, you got to work, you got to practice, and you got to practice every day, and that does make a really big difference with it. Okay, I think I'm okay there. Let me see if I have any more speaking I need to listen to here, so give me a quick second. I'm going through my emails right now. Okay, Raphael, it looks like Mike G just scored one of your practice tests. Okay, let me keep going here. Shrikant, wait a minute. Are you still at YouTube here? I got to answer one of your questions. You sent me an email earlier, so I'm just looking through my email right now. Okay, you said, I saw your suggestion in the YouTube that told me to give the vocabulary final exam A through Z, so you did that. So you got about 50% result on that. So what do you do now? It means, unfortunately, that you need to go through and study all of those words. I think that's going to be important for you. That means start with vocabulary lesson 4 first. Now, Shrikant, there is no easy, painless way to do this. My recommendation is very simple, is you take the vocabulary word, right? and you want to write it on a note card. Put the one word on one side, then on the back of the note card, you can put a sample sentence along with a definition. You see what I'm saying? And then if you do that, you want to do that 500 different times for vocabulary lesson number 4. So put all of the words onto note cards and study those words regularly. Now you also notice, Shrikant, is that you can download the vocabulary lessons onto your iPad or your computer or whatever, and you should start listening to these words also. Alright, so once you've learned and mastered the words in vocabulary lesson 4, then go to vocabulary lesson number 5 again, using note cards. You want to write the words on the note cards and start studying those note cards regularly. Once you've learned those words, and what you can also do is, as you're studying your words, you can put them into 2 stacks. Certain words you already know. Put those words into stacks that you already know these words, so you know not to review those note cards very much. But the words that you have trouble remembering, put those into a different note card stack, and you can review those more often. Right? Does that make sense? So once you've done vocabulary lesson 4, then do vocabulary lesson 5, then do vocabulary lesson number 6. And that means, it sounds crazy. And see, everybody wants this really convenient way to learn vocabulary. No. Learning vocabulary is hard work on your part. The harder you work, the more likely you are to remember those words. That's why I do not prepare the note cards for you. I want you to prepare the note cards, because that's all part of learning the words. Because if you write down the word, and then on the other side you write a sentence along with a definition, you are studying those words, even as you do that. Then you use the note cards and you begin studying those. Think about it. The next time you go, for example, to Disneyland, if you go to Disney World or Disneyland, you go somewhere where you have to wait in line, you can bring some of your note cards and you can study those words as you wait in line. What if you go on a trip with some friends and they're driving and you're not? You can study your note cards on a regular basis. All right, Shrikant? So I think I answered your question too. So I just answered that about your email too. So that is my suggestion for you about your vocabulary study. Now here's one good thing that I think Raphael and Shrikant, both of you guys, need to remember, is that the vocabulary words that you see in TOEFL vocabulary lesson 4, 5, and 6. Those lessons, you will see those words in all the areas of my course. Yes, you will see the words in the pronunciation section of my course, in the grammar part of my course, in the listening, reading, speaking, and even writing. I like to recycle the vocabulary words from my vocabulary step into the other sections of my course. That way you begin to see them more than one time. For example, if you go through my entire course and you go through all lessons and all sections, you'll probably see those words 15 or 20 different times at my website, and that's good for you. So I did that on purpose. So somebody wants to be friends at Facebook, someone who just joined my course, I'm going to go ahead and do that. Okay, I'm going through my emails again. I'm looking for I think I did this one already, but this is integrated speaking number 7. Give me a second.
The reading passage explained what the mineralogist did and the listening passage explained
Okay, I listened to this
three
one
main
already.
significant contributions. First of all,
Okay, that one's good. Okay, let me keep going. So follow the link. So this is another one. Okay, this is one I need to answer later on. I'm looking at my email and there's this stupid YouTube video. It's a YouTube advertisement. It has a dog jumping up into like a window, and then the dog falls down and the dog goes up again several times, and then the third time he jumps up, it puts the dog in slow motion. I cannot take my eyes off of that. It drives me crazy. Okay, let me keep going here. Okay, I've answered this guy's question. I think I'm just about done here. Now, anybody else, if you're watching this YouTube, this live stream here, if you got a question, post it quickly because I'm just about to get done here. So usually once I get through all my emails for the day, then I'm pretty much finished. I'm gonna go to my live dashboard in just a minute and I will check. Okay, I think that's it. Let me see if we have any other questions. Okay, let's look at Shrikant, your comments on TOEFL Noteful. Professor, may I know your feedback, your Facebook professor? Okay, I can answer both of those. Yeah, if you want to be friends with me on Facebook, yes, you can do that. Noteful, I don't know. I mean, I see a lot of positives about Noteful, but I don't know if they allow students to do daily speaking practice. I've seen some things where students will post things at VoxyPop and it's from Noteful, right? But they never get comments on their speaking, so I have no idea really what to say about them. I know they're pretty popular. Everybody likes them. They get a lot of views at YouTube, but I'm not exactly sure. Is it more just videos, or can they do speaking and writing practice? I'm not exactly sure what the website offers. So I'm going to say I've seen some of the videos on reading, for example. I had another one I watched about speaking, and the Joseph seems to know what he's talking about. I mean, obviously he wouldn't have so many views at YouTube if he didn't. So he seems to be very knowledgeable. The only thing I didn't like is in one of his videos he had a template and he was telling students, say, well, I have 2 reasons, why I agree or disagree, and he told them to say it that way. And I think a lot of students overuse that particular template, So if you're going and you're doing the TOEFL exam and you get 1,000 people all saying, I have 2 reasons to support my point of view, that's a memorized template. And that's not a good thing. You don't want to memorize how you want to answer the different kinds of speaking tasks, and that shows that you don't have what's called spontaneous English. So that's the only thing I had a question about, is I don't advise students, like TOEFL recommends, to memorize templates and use those during the TOEFL exam. I don't think that's a good idea. That would be my own opinion. Everybody's different on that, right? But that would be my opinion about that. Okay, so I think we're done. What are we doing here? There's still 5 people watching this video? My goodness. I think I'm pretty much done with this whole thing here, so I'm going to go ahead and shut this down. And I have a little bit more free time right now. I'll probably be doing some live streaming for the next week. Maybe each day I'll try to find some time where I can do this. Okay, now the next thing is,